Welcome to the Gita in Action podcast. My name's Radha, and I'm here with our regular family of seekers. We're reading through the Gita verse by verse, really diving in deep and talking about its relevance to our lives. And it's transforming us day by day. That's what happens when you study this sacred literature. It's just by this association with the sacred literature in a community of like-minded people, the heart starts to transform. This is the formula for heart transformation. And we're doing it. We're doing it. We are living examples of trying to do it with Krishna's mercy. So today we are in chapter 9, and we're going to start with text 28. So we're coming to the end of this chapter. We only have a handful of verses left. And this is really the heart of the Gita. This is the Bhakti Yoga section of the Gita. And chapter 9 is called the most confidential knowledge. So Krishna's really teaching us about relationship with him and what that actually means. So it's really a special time in our journey through the Gita. So before we get into the text, Shakti, can you say our prayers for us?
Absolutely. Om Agyana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kara Mayam Dandanti Sva Pandatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savarhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitams Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Garungi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Prananami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavembhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasaru Guru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me show. So let's start chapter 9, text 28. Chapter 9, text 28. When you're ready, Stella.
Subhasva valir evam moksha se karma bandhanaha sannyasa yoga yukt atma vimikto mam upesyasi. In this way you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me.
Thank you. So if we remember in the previous verse, Krishna told us to offer everything we do to him. We remember it's chapter or text 26, he gives us that verse of we can offer just a leaf or water or fruit to him. Like he doesn't require a lot. You don't have to be very, wealthy, or you don't really have to have anything to be able to materially to be able to reciprocate with God, to be able to offer something to God. And then in the verse after that, he says, from wherever you are, Even if you're not full of devotion yet, just whatever you do, offer it to me. And so now he's explaining what happens when we do that. And he says that when we live this way, when we offer our work, our choices, our day-to-day life to him, we actually become free from the reactions of our actions. So both good and bad. And this is a kind of a key point here too. It might sound kind of surprising, like because we usually just think that only bad karma binds us, right? Like I just want to get rid of the bad stuff. But Krishna's here is saying that even good karma keeps us tied to the material world. So he's saying both auspicious and inauspicious results create this future obligations and consequences that just keep us in this cycle of birth and death. So he's saying when we offer our actions to Krishna, our work stops generating karmic reactions altogether. So we get out of this system completely. We step out of the cycle instead of just being pushed forward by it. And he doesn't stop there. He says that offering this mood doesn't just make us neutral, it actually lifts us up towards the highest liberation. And that highest liberation is coming back to him. So it's not an abstract impersonal liberation. It's a personal, relational, and it's rooted in love. So just by offering our days, our choices, our food, everything to God, we're getting out of this cycle, this karmic cycle of action reaction, right? Which is what keeps us here in the first place. We're getting out of it. We're coming up here to this transcendental level of relationship with God. So we're getting out of this and we're investing in our relationship with God. And Krishna says that a pure devotee isn't bound by good or bad in a worldly sense. When we think of things that are good, we think of things that are bad. It's very much material. That's kind of a worldly view on things. Because a pure devotee, their only motivation is love and service. So even if something, is quote unquote bad from material perspectives, if they run out of money or, a relationship ends, they're not judging it on the basis of how much pain is this causing me. They're judging it on the basis of, is this providing me more of an opportunity for love and service to the divine? So it's like a whole different meter of which to measure our life around. And it kind of requires just like this change in consciousness to be able to see our life through that lens. I lost a job. This job, it was I was very good at it, but it was making me very prideful. And I was getting very attached to money. And now that I lost this job, I have all of this time for my sadhana. Yeah, so a material perspective might think that's a bad thing, right? You lose a job that you like, that you're good at, that's providing you a lot of money. You could say that's bad materially. But a pure devotee sees that actual seemingly loss, right, of material opulence is bringing them closer to God. And in that way, the goal of life is fulfilled. So there is no good or bad. It's, again, a whole different metric of which to measure the success of life. Their intention, it's pure. How can I serve Krishna in this moment? And this can be a prayer for us all. We all have to go through our lives and make difficult decisions. Should I choose this job, that job? Should I have a child? Should I not? Should I marry this person or not? you know, and to really try to get pure in your intention of when you're making this decision, is this decision going to bring me closer to God, or is it going to bring me further away from God? And a lot of times that's hard for us to say. That's hard for us to really know because we don't really know what's on the other end of that, right? We don't really understand all the implications that come with that. And this is where we just really have to purify our desire so that God sees our heart and guides us accordingly. Because if our heart is still a little bit materially attached, then Krishna's going to facilitate that. But if our heart really just wants to serve God to the degree that our heart is purified, Krishna will reveal that the way for us to do that. And that's the beauty of relationship with God. That's what we're going to actually get into more and more today. So this is why pure devotional service is considered the highest spiritual path, because it frees us not just from the negative, which is good. Right? We don't really want to suffer in this world, but it also frees us from this subtle pride and attachment that comes from doing good material things. And ultimately, that freedom plucks us out of this karmic system and carries us back to God Himself. So that's really what we're going for here. Does anybody want to share anything before we move on? Yes, Shakti.
So this is very I'm in the middle of doing my closed book for Bhakti Shastri, and uh the question a lot of the questions that are coming up right now are about um how do we how can we, get Krishna's uh, love? How can we uh, show him devotion? So it's one of the questions I thought was very interesting. And I was really like, whoa, it says, why does Krishna rarely agree to offer a soul devotional service? So
Mm,
rarely. And it's because it's an extremely rare, special, not easily obtained, because it's only obtained by the through the mercy of a pure devotee.
mm,
And I just found that really, I found it beautiful, right? That he'll offer you the mercy, but he wants to kind of see how you're gonna treat the pure devotees. And then it's like, obviously the pure devotee is not offering you the mercy, but it's how he sees the interaction is
mm,
how what I'm taking from that answer. I don't know if
mm,
I'm wrong, but
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, Krishna is reciprocal, and that's what we're going to talk about a lot in the next verse. What our Krishna sees our heart's truest desire. Like you may be able to hide it from the world, but you can't hide it from Krishna. So to the degree that we just want love for God, He will place people and experiences in our life to facilitate that journey. And to the degree that we're just kind of going through the motions, we may just be still bound by karmic reactions if we're not really serious about this relationship. Krishna will see that. So it's our choice, and Krishna is reciprocal. Yeah, thank you. Stella.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I really like I feel distracted by these good points that you're making now. But what I was thinking was, I mean, distracted in a good way. I really like how the verse and your points about it sort of turn the whole idea of karma upside down, or at least most people's, I think, the
Mm,
popular notion of like good karma and bad karma, and how you're saying like there is no good and bad. Like karma is bad. All karma, is my understanding anyway, is it attaches us, it binds us, and we're looking to get rid of our karma. So I just find that a very liberating concept of karma and what it means for us and how we deal with it. So thanks.
yeah, perfect. That really just took the whole point home. That's exactly it. And when, the material conception of karma, I'm so sorry I talk about Taylor Swift all the time, but she's like, I just know her. Well, she's a song called Karma, and it's just like all about, when good things happen to you, it's good. When bad things happen to you, it's bad. And it's not even that that's wrong, it's just that it's short-sighted because it's just limited to this body, this life, this moment. And Vedic teachings, they just extrapolate that way out, and say, hey, you're an eternal soul on an eternal journey. And you're going to be just stuck in this cycle forever, good or bad. But what's even better than that? What's even better than just getting addicted to the good and then just waiting during the bad to get back to the good. This Ferris wheel of good bad that's going on in our lives. What's even better than that is just get off that Ferris wheel completely and come into this eternal relationship with me where it's just ever joyous, it's ever fresh, right? It's ever fulfilling to the heart. You don't have to be on this Ferris wheel. It's almost like cheap happiness, right? But it's just what's directly in front of our eyes. So we get kind of fooled into thinking that that's it. But no, it's not it. There's so much more available for us. So let's just get off that Ferris wheel and come to this relationship with God. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we're up on top of that Ferris wheel, we're like, "Oh, this is so great! I can see everything. This is wonderful." And it's just
Yes.
like you say, it's just a Ferris wheel.
It's just we're gonna end up right back on the bottom. If you're at the top of the Ferris wheel right now, you got the career, you got the job, you got the designer dog. Just wait, because that Ferris wheel, it's only a matter of time. It's gonna come back down. This is just the nature of the material existence. Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
and Radha, the other thing is that I find that is when I'm going through the karmic, like I'm losing this, I'm losing that, you can't have, I feel at first, it used to be where I would get so connected to that in a way that was like, oh my God, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? Like, but now I understand, which I think is your point. I understand that that Krishna is like things are getting taken away, things are moving in such a way. Why? Because he wants me to be closer to him. He's bringing me closer. So in the end, it's like right now, like I'm preparing to go to an ashram for 5.5 weeks. And
Mm.
why? Because of things in life that maybe didn't work out. And it's allowing me to now say, okay, I've been wanting to do this. And you've heard me talk about this probably for more than a month to get closer to Krishna, to
Mm.
be his abode, to be with him 24/7.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And sometimes it's like he's like burning the forest fire of our material lives so that there's a clearing and we can and regrowth, rebirth can occur. And and that's part of it. Yeah. Nice. He does that. And a pure devotee sees it like that, sees his hand in it. Yes. Did you have something more to say, Shakti?
Um,
Oh
uh,
no, I was just hello. I was just gonna like just listening to what you guys have been sharing. It's like the cliche phrase, right? Shit happens. And that's, life is, oh, where's my hand? Life is like this, right? It's never like just a straight line, right?
Yeah.
So there's ups, there's downs, there's calm, craziness, there's all of that. But that's life, right?
Yeah.
So, you have, I think even the highs and even the lows, they're always opportunity to learn, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
uh, so good and bad, right? But I know when things are on the lows, our mind can be like, you know it's never getting better. I had, it's like apocalypse is happening. But it if you look back on those, moments, it always brings itself back to center, right? Then it'll go up, then it's like center, then something goes down, then it's back to center, but always back to center, right? So,
Mm.
if you sometimes we get clouded when the lows happen, like that's all
Mm.
you're seeing is like,
Yeah.
and things are in the dumps and this and that, but it's just a moment. It's a momentary
Moment in
dip,
time.
and then it will go back to center. So
Yes. Yes. Cycle of life. Cycle of life. Thank you. Thank you all for your shares. Okay, let's go on to 23 text or 23 text 29. Let me just move this on my screen, Stella, and then maybe you can read for us.
Sure. Samoham sarva bhutesu name tvasyo stina priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite te shukapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
Thank you. This is a really fun verse because it's kind of apparently contradictory. And it's like Krishna's impartially partial. So we're gonna kind of dive into this and pull out the meaning here. So Krishna's saying, I'm equal to everyone, but for my devotee, I am a friend. And this is a really nice moment in the Gita. He's speaking personally, not just philosophically. So how can Krishna be equal to all yet closer to his devotees? How does this make sense? And Krishna says, I am impartial. He says, but I'm partial to those who love me. And what he's saying here, he's revealing two complementary aspects of who he is. So this first aspect, Krishna is Paramatma, Krishna in the soul, Krishna in the heart, the cosmic judge. So this is Krishna's role, as super soul in everybody's heart. Krishna's completely neutral, and everybody receives the results of their actions. Nobody gets special treatment. There's no favoritism. He's overseeing the law of karmic with perfect. He's overseeing the law of karma with perfect fairness. So in this way, he treats every soul equally, just like a judge. A judge is just if somebody breaks the law, then this is the consequence. If somebody lives lawfully, this is the consequence. This is how Krishna's created this karmic system, and people are just being distributed the rightful reactions of their actions according to this system. So in that way, he's completely impartial. And then there's another aspect to God. This is the personal God. Krishna is Bhagavan, we say. He's a personal God. In his personal form, he's deeply relational. He reciprocates affection with affection. He responds to love with love. He'll become the friend, the protector, the companion of somebody who loves him. It's kind of like a very charitable or generous person who's charitable to everybody, but then they naturally feel a special warmth towards their own children. So it's not being unfair, it's just the nature of relationship. Well, he's not cold or mechanical. He's warm and he's responsive. He's affectionate. So he's not neutral, he's not biased, he's reciprocal. And this is such a sweet truth in bhakti. And this is so essential, this reciprocal relationship. This is essential for any relationship. If there's not reciprocity in a relationship, it's kind of like, what kind of relationship is this? Is it even a relationship? Or it's maybe a little bit dysfunctional, or maybe just like not even happening. So Krishna relates to us according to how we relate to him. And this is what makes a relationship possible. So when we talk about, again, impartial, he's impartial in opportunity. So he'll take everybody, anybody. He's completely open. Anyone can enter the path of devotion if they choose to. Anyone can develop intimacy with himself, with God. Anyone can receive his affection. So he's absolutely impartial at this level of opportunity. No one is disqualified or denied access. His gate is completely open. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you've done. Doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter where you're from, color of your skin. No, none of that matters. God's gate is open. It's beautiful. And he cares for everyone. We see this. Just like a cloud that pours rain on land, on oceans, on rocks. The cloud doesn't choose favorites. It gives everywhere. So just like that, Krishna's maintaining everyone. Even if you're not even remembering him, he's maintaining you. Just by the sun coming up every day, the air in your lungs. But when someone turns towards God with affection, he reciprocates personally because this is definition of relationship. His gates, again, his gates are completely open, but those who choose to walk through, he's going to greet. He's going to greet. He's going to shake their hand. In fact, he's going to give them a hug. And this isn't favoritism, it's just relationship. And intimacy grows only where love grows. So Krishna's heart is open to those whose hearts are open to him. This is bhakti's like personal, intimate dimension. Because God is not just a distant force, a cosmic Amazon Prime. He's a loving person. And sometimes in the Vedic scriptures, God's compared to a desire tree. We hear that. It's just like he simply just grants us whatever we ask for. And sometimes we treat him like that. God, just please give me this. Just give me this. And God can do that. But that's not his heart. That's not his heart. And that's what we're learning here. That's what Krishna's revealing. Something much deeper. He's partial to those that love them, those that love him. Not because of karma, not out of obligation, not because they're better or they're the chosen ones, but simply just because love awakens love. Love awakens love. We've all experienced that. We've all experienced that. You give a little bit of love to someone, just see what it brings out in them. Love awakens love. And this exchange belongs to the spiritual world, where eternity, bliss, knowledge color every relationship. So in this way, this bhakti, it's not material. It carries the fragrance of this higher reality. And we see in scriptures over and over how God reciprocates with his devotees. He becomes their best friend, like Krishna being the charioteer for Arjuna. He just becomes their friend. He becomes their protector. He removes obstacles from their path. He stands against whoever stands against them. So he doesn't just give us what we desire materially, but he gives us what helps us love him more. So we have to stop seeing God as just merely a desire fulfiller. We have to see him as a person that we have relationship with. And I know, when we think of our own relationships, isn't it so much more meaningful to have to just be in those moments where you feel super connected to your beloved than like you receive a gift without really those sentiments? It's like night and day. You can't even really compare. These moments where you feel just so connected. And this is what's available for us with the supreme being. These small little material things that we're asking for are just like pennies compared to this eternal relationship that's available for us. And so Krishna's asking us to come through the gates, and he'll give us so much more. He'll shape our lives in ways that draw us closer to him, even if we don't really see it or we don't really understand it. And this is what happens when you step through the gates. I'm just like picturing just like a big stadium. It's Krishna's stadium, and the gates are just completely open, and it's up to you to go through. And when you do, Krishna will take control of your life in the most beautiful and unpredictable way ever. This has been my experience. It's like I just sometimes don't even know how what has happened to me has happened to me. It just like is a flow. And then afterwards I see, oh wow. Yeah, if that didn't move just that way, then things couldn't have flowed that way. And now that things have flowed that way, it's opened up this whole other area where things can flow. This is Krishna taking control of your life, and this happens when you want him to. This happens when you just want Krishna. He'll take control. He'll take those reins. And the nice thing is when he takes those reins, we can stop just like spinning our material desire, spinning our material wheels. Like trying to figure out, okay, what should I do here? What's best here? Oh, this person said this. What does this mean? It's just like you get so stuck inside your mind of all these material problems. And when you love God, when that becomes the goal of your life, it's like Krishna's like, okay, let me take that for you. Let me take that for you. Okay, here we go. This is how it's going to go. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah? So get ready. It's like the ride of your life when you enter that stadium, when you decide to enter that stadium. Krishna's gates. But when we avoid him, he honors that too. We all see that, and we've all probably can think of experiences in our life or times in our life that we just haven't been very God conscious. And because God is reciprocal, he respects our free will. If someone doesn't want a relationship, he steps back. He doesn't intrude. He doesn't force himself. He just allows us to live under the neutral law of karma. And this is him respecting and loving us. He's quietly honoring our choice. I'm thinking of this teacher that I had in high school who's just like such a good math teacher, such a good math teacher. And I would spend like every lunch period in his room, like doing more problems just because I was just like so addicted to math. I just loved math. And I kind of became, kind of like a teacher's pet, quote unquote. But it wasn't, and I could even feel this in the relationship. It wasn't that he liked me more than the other students. It was just that I took much more interest, and in that he, gave me a little bit more leeway. And this is Krishna. If you take interest, he'll give you the keys to the kingdom. Right? This is relationship. And this matters for love. This relationship, it matters for love because if God were completely neutral, like a cold stone, how could anybody love him? If he didn't reciprocate, then love of God would just be a theory and not an experience. But because God does reciprocate emotionally, personally, lovingly, our relationship with him becomes real and vibrant. His reciprocity makes him personally tangible and deeply lovable. So it transforms this devotion from an idea into this living exchanges of hearts. And this is such an important principle of bhakti. And this is something that makes bhakti so addicting. I feel like this is one of the things that makes bhakti so addicting. As you start to experience this reciprocity and you see to the degree that God takes the reins of your life, how much just more peaceful and joyful and connected that makes you feel. And then in that, you just want to keep, reaching out. You want to keep engaging in these practices so that God will take over more because you see how much better it is when when you're not just in the driver's seat by yourself. And this is the practice. So, in summary, Krishna is impartial in giving everyone the chance to love him. The gates to the stadium are open. But he's reciprocal in responding according to our approach. So, if you decide to be in relationship with God, those who choose to love him, they'll see God's heart open up. And this paradox, it's the sweetness of bhakti. It's how Krishna becomes alive, intimate, and the relationship with him becomes just profoundly fulfilling. Does anybody want to share anything here? Are you guys connecting with this? I mean, just by coming to this class, you're walking through the gates. Yeah. And bhakti life, spiritual life is just walking through the gates in every decision we make in our lives. Right? Or even like, okay, if I stop here, how can I then go through the gate on my way? Yeah. And just really starting to think like this. And not just think like this, but to feel like this. Like I have to get to that gate. And it happens for us little by little because it's experiential. We try it on and we see just how warm it is in that stadium, just how nice it feels, and we just want to keep getting back there. The stadium of God's heart. And we can bring this back to the Gita, when we think about Arjuna and Duryodhana at the beginning of the Gita. And we see, one could say, doesn't Krishna favor Arjuna? You could look at the Gita and perhaps say that, because Krishna's driving his charioteer, he's his best friend, he's revealing all this knowledge to him. If Krishna's equal to everyone, then why does it look like he took Arjuna's side over Duryodhana's? He's on the Pandava's side when he's fighting this battle. Like literally, Krishna is sitting on the Pandava's side. So if we apply these principles to this and kind of look deeper at what's going on here, we'll see that both Arjuna and Duryodhana had the same universal opportunity to be close to Krishna. Because again, Krishna is the ultimate parent. He wants good for all his children. No matter their behavior, no matter how much they act out, he wants good for all of his children. And because of this, he'll stay with every soul as their inner guide. And he'll patiently wait for them to become receptive. He won't abandon them. He won't reject them. He won't write anyone off. Krishna's love, it's available to everyone. Now we're going to go to the principle of proportional reciprocity. So even though Krishna cares equal for all beings, he reciprocates proportionally according to how each person approaches him. Okay, because Krishna's overarching cosmic purpose is to lift all souls to spiritual consciousness, right, where real eternal love and fulfillment exist. That's his purpose. That's what he wants for everyone. He would love to just pull everyone out of that karmic Ferris wheel and bring them up to relationship with him. And so when someone steps forward to help him in that purpose, he naturally empowers them. That's what Arjuna did. When Arjuna's ready to do that, Krishna will naturally empower them. And when someone opposes that purpose, he'll naturally withdraw his empowerment. And we shouldn't see this as favoritism. It's appropriate reciprocation. Arjuna was like a responsible son who's helping his father protect the family's sacred inheritance. He wasn't fighting for selfishness. He was fighting to uphold dharma for everyone's benefit. And what we see here is that Arjuna aligns himself with Krishna's purpose. And when Krishna sees that, he responds with affection, with empowerment, with presence. So it's not even that Krishna's taking Arjuna's side, it's Arjuna is choosing Krishna's side. That's how we have to see it. And then when we look at Duryodhana, he's like this irresponsible son. He's trying to squander the family inheritance for his own desires. He wasn't working for Krishna. He wasn't working for Dharma. He was actively working against it. And because of this, Krishna reciprocates accordingly, by disempowering him. But even this, Krishna's not abandoning him by disempowering him. Again, from a long-term spiritual perspective, Krishna is still on Duryodhana's side because sometimes just by being humbled or stopped or confronted is exactly what a soul needs to break through this selfishness and move towards this spiritual awakening. So he's giving him that opportunity, wake up, wake up. So even Krishna's no is an act of compassion. So when we understand Krishna's relationship with Arjuna and Duryodhana through this lens, we see, Krishna's not being biased. He's not choosing favorites. He's not taking sides. He's just simply reciprocating with each soul according to the direction that they choose. And Arjuna chose to align with Krishna. Duryodhana didn't. And Krishna responded appropriately to both with the same underlining intention to ultimately guide every soul towards spiritual growth, towards evolution of consciousness. And I'm witnessing this firsthand. I've talked about my dad a lot the past couple of weeks, but with my dad, he's an alcoholic. He just chooses drinking over God time and time again. Chooses selfishness. This is kind of where he's lived. And he's been in the hospital. He had a blood transfusion. He's struggling. And the doctors told him, if you keep drinking, this is going to be like rat poison for you. And I see this as like, wow, Krishna is giving him this opportunity. Like he's still alive. He's still conscious. He can make this decision. He can make this decision to just admit, that this alcohol has power over him, and that he needs a power higher than himself to get over it, or it's going to conquer him. This is like the opportunity to come to this, to come to your knees and come to this realization that you actually need a power higher than yourself, that you don't have it all figured out, that you can't just do it alone. And it's like, is he going to choose to take that opportunity? Because this is like a golden ticket. And it's so beautiful. I see, wow, Krishna's really giving him this chance. And this is the same for all of us. This is what life is. It gives us these chances. And in that moment, when we're at that crossroads, are we going to choose a ticket to the stadium of God's love? Or are we going to just throw it away and go our own route? It's up to us. It's up to us. But God loves us so much that he gives us all that opportunity again and again. It'll show up again and again in our lives. And when we choose to step through that stadium, take that ticket, step through that stadium, nothing makes God happier. And our life just becomes transcendental. But we have to choose. We'd have to choose. What do you guys think? Quiet crew today, huh? Quiet crew. I was feeling really sad for my dad when he first got in the hospital. I was feeling so sad for him. And when I started to see things through this light, like this is an opportunity and it's going to be his choice. Is he going to keep drinking and, really and lose his whole consciousness, or is he going to use this as an opportunity to surrender to God? Because that's what this is. That's what addiction can really do for people. And wow, what a spiritual experience they can have. And it made me feel so much better about it. Like it's his choice. And if God accepts that, I have to accept that and see God's hand and God's love in all of it. And it makes me feel like he's being taken care of. What do you guys think? Yeah. Okay, I'll share one more thing and then maybe you guys will be ready for reflections. So there's this beautiful metaphor in the purport that Prabhupada mentions. He talks about how a diamond that sits in a golden ring looks even more brilliant because the gold is glorified, the diamond is glorified. And he puts this metaphor out there. He says Krishna is the diamond and the devotee is the gold. And when a soul turns towards him with affection, they both shine. You know, their natural connection becomes visible again. And Krishna, astonishingly, becomes the devotee of his devotees. So this is the kind of intimate reciprocal relationship. You know, it doesn't exist in an impersonal philosophy. If God's not a person, there's not that exchange. You know, there's no two-way love. There's no real meeting of the hearts. But in bhakti, the heart of God meets the heart of the soul. And that's what it's like the devotee is the gold and God is the diamond. And when they come together, it's so much more beautiful and astonishing. So in this way, bhakti is not a material activity. It comes straight from the spiritual world. And every moment that we're engaging in it, even imperfectly, we're touching a piece of eternity. And the more that we practice this devotional service, the more we begin to live with the spiritual consciousness, even while we're right here in the material world. This is why Krishna speaks with such warmth at the end of this verse. You know, he says, if you love me, I'm already loving you back. And this statement is just opening a window into Krishna's heart. A heart that's not just creating and maintaining the universe, but is genuinely seeking relationship with us. It's pretty amazing. And that relationship is here for us. We just have to make that choice. Just walk through the gate. Walk through the gate. And Krishna will pluck you right off that Ferris wheel and bring you back to eternal relationship with him. It's quite beautiful.
Radhapriti, I think everyone's so quiet because you're talking so much nectar.
I don't know, but I want to hear some reflections from you all.
I was thinking that it is pretty radical to when you see someone making those kind of choices that are not Krishna, how they it only even if someone's very high materially, if they're if they're really not choosing Krishna, they really cause a lot of misery. You know, like to not see every single living entity as beloved by God. I mean, that's like one of the first things like to approach Krishna, you kind of have to see that, like we're not our bodies, we're connected to Krishna. And then to see people who are like Duryodhana just causing misery,
Mm,
they just, and like that's a symptom of not choosing Krishna. Um,
yes.
and so it's pretty easy to see that. And yeah, we can have compassion for them.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Because Krishna does.
Yeah,
Krishna has compassion for them. And just like we said, Krishna's still there for Duryodhana,
yeah,
which is beautiful. But ultimately it was Arjuna who chose Krishna's side,
yeah.
not Krishna who chose Arjuna. I mean, it looks that way, but it was Arjuna who chose Krishna's side.
Yeah,
and
even
Krishna
it, and it
reciprocates.
wasn't even in the war. It was like it wasn't Krishna in bed when the two of them came
Yeah,
and Drona chose the
yeah,
armies
yeah,
and
yeah, right.
Arjuna just said, I just want you, Krishna,
Yeah,
even if you don't bring any armies.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Aaron.
I agree with Stella. Such a beautiful class. And I do really appreciate you pointing out like the seeming paradox in the verse because I feel like sometimes there are like seeming paradoxes, that come up and it's just easy to brush them aside. And I'm glad. I love one of the many things I love about you is that you feel like you talk about them head on, and I feel like it's super. Um, just like understandable and digestible what you shared about the difference with Paramatma and Bhagavan um, but something that I am struggling with is like this whole just walk through the gate because it seems like so easy, just walk through the gate. um but and I know we do talk about like life has ups and downs, and when you're at the top of the Ferris wheel, next you're going to be at the bottom, and like it will keep going and it's cyclical. But I also, don't want to deny that there's like really awful loss and heartache and like
Mm,
just gut-wrenching things in the world, in this world, in today's world, and also like throughout scripture, right? Like there's so much loss and pain that I think every character throughout the Bhagavatam and is just going through. And I guess I'm just like sitting with like what makes that difference of like the those who are able to just lift up their arms and surrender in the midst of all of that, and
mm,
then those who like go in the exact opposite direction and like can't even like talk to God anymore because I was just listening to a lecture and Satchidananda Swami was talking about, I think it's Chichaketu,
mhm,
and he's praying for a son and he doesn't get a son, and it's years and years and years, and eventually gets his son, but like that wasn't actually part of his dharma, and the son is poisoned and he dies like very young. And then like he's the main character in this story, and the story ends up being about like, he gets this mantra from Narada Muni, he gets liberation, he becomes like this emperor of this heavenly planet. It's like, oh, this is a great story, happy ending. But I'm just stuck with his poor wife, who's, I think her name is Chitra Duthi, and this poor woman, like begets a son, loses her son, and like stops talking to God and only can see this like unspeakable cruelty as an act of God. And I'm like, I understand where she's coming from. And then that's her storyline stops. I mean, maybe there's more to it, and I definitely don't know all of the story, but like in this lecture, anyways, like it just stops. That's the end of her story. And I'm like, well, this poor woman. Like, and then she basically like loses her husband along with it because he's off becoming liberated throughout this whole event where she has this exact opposite experience. And I don't know like what makes that difference,
mm,
like why one person you know is able to just like surrender and another person is just like, I think understandably, like not accept that like like just can't accept that like this horrible thing happened to them, and all of it is like the actual design of a loving God?
Mm. Yeah, very good question. As devotees, we are called to be in this world, but not of this world. And those examples that you just cited, like the wife in that story, she is so stuck on that Ferris wheel and she's like holding on to it for dear life, even when it's like on fire. She won't get off of it. She wants so badly for her son. She gets a son, she's so elated. The son dies, she's so distraught. And she doesn't know that she's just like holding on to this Ferris wheel that's on fire, basically. And that's what God's trying to teach us with this Ferris wheel, even when the Ferris wheel is set on fire, it's like, look, you don't even let go of the Ferris wheel. Right? Because now you're just getting burned. But meanwhile, we're just holding on so tightly. And so this is what God is teaching us in this hospital that we're all in this material existence, is that this isn't even a place for us. And to the degree that we get attached to it and we get attached to the things of it, we are going to be controlled by it. And we're going to be holding on to this burning Ferris wheel like for dear life, when God's saying, look, just let go and come to me. And there's so much more available for you here. And it is hard. It's not easy, but if we can be a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more intentional and a little bit more prayerful, we'll start to see when these things are happening to us, when we're on the Ferris wheel of life's ups and downs. Sometimes we're high, sometimes we're low, sometimes it's frigid outside, sometimes we're like being burned on this Ferris wheel. When we start to get a little bit more thoughtful, we'll start to realize, even when we're high, you know what, this isn't really as high as I thought that it was when I was on the ground. And then we'll realize when we're on the ground, this is really just I need something more than this. I can't even look forward to getting off the ground anymore because this is just so low. It's in those moments that we learn to surrender to God, because out of necessity, because we just don't have any other option. It's so low. So yes, it's hard. God doesn't say it's easy. And that's why he gives us a very specific prescription for it. Be in association of devotees, chant my names, study my scriptures. To the degree that we do this, we start to become a little bit more detached from the happenings of the Ferris wheel, and a little bit more attached to getting off of it, and to coming into relationship with God. But we have to follow the prescription, or we're going to become kind of victims to it, right? So yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. That's what I'm watching my dad go through right now. But we can make the choice or not. We have to learn how to surrender to our ego, how to surrender to a power higher than ourselves, how to let go of our own selfishness. We have to learn to recognize that these things are the cause of our own demise. And if we can't do that, if we're not determined enough to do that, if we can't create enough space in our life to do that, we're going to be on the Ferris wheel for a good long time. And that's even what that Bhagavatam story is trying to teach you. It's nice that you felt so bad for the wife and you really identified, and that too, we can see ourselves there. But we also have to understand, hey, this child is not going to make my life complete. Having a child is not going to make my life complete. And to the degree that we think that it will, we will be disappointed. Either when the child gets taken away from us, God forbid, or just through life's natural ups and downs. God will teach us that if we're lucky. Does that make sense, Aaron? Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything? Stella, you said something on the chat here. Just pulling this up. We do not start a life at zero. Stella, do you want to explain that a little bit? Oh, we bring in all
Oh
kinds
no,
of
I was just
karma.
thinking in terms of like, is it muted?
No, I hear you.
Oh, okay. That, like, uh I mean it's hard to hear like, oh, this mother lost a child, like, but some of that sorrow is because we think she doesn't deserve it. And I don't want to get into that deserve sort of thing, but like it's the natural consequences of her previous lives and her journey. And we can
Right.
have great compassion for her. It's terrible to lose a child. Um, but but some of that is softened by the thought that, well, that is something she had to go through from a seed she planted. And, that child who only had a short life had another journey in which the shortened life was actually in their benefit, in some way. So, I mean, it's like we can't, like that's where we start trying to, I don't know, it starts getting in the weeds of karma. Like it's such a delicate balance of having compassion for someone who's going through a hard time and knowing that they themselves are the cause of that, even though they're innocent in a way because they don't remember that seed.
Right.
We're all innocent and guilty at the same time, and it's not really guilt, but like
Sure.
accepting
Yeah.
responsibility is a hard thing to hear and to accept.
Yeah. And all we can really do is be beacons of light for for people at the amusement park on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, and
And
love them up, love them up.
yeah, and we get that light by being connected to God. And if somebody's at an amusement park and they're on this Ferris wheel and it's just dark and dreary and a bunch of people show up and it's just light and warmth, maybe that's the best that we can do, at that time. And ideally, we can maybe start to encourage them to get off the Ferris wheel and come with us to the source of light and warmth. But in the meantime, if we're not connected to that source, there's not even going to be any light and warmth at that amusement park. So we got to get connected, and then we can go and try to help these people get off the Ferris wheel.
And you can get off the Ferris wheel only when it's at the very bottom.
Mm. Yeah, that's quite an
Very
opportunity to get
easy to
off.
get off the Ferris wheel when it's at the bottom. At the top, you could get off too, I guess, by jumping or being,
Helping others is such a great way of getting there oneself. Like,
Helping others is
developing one's Krishna consciousness is no better way than to help others in theirs.
yes, yes, exactly.
just by seeing them with that lens is a blessing to them. By you seeing them through that
Yes.
lens, because everybody is beautiful and innocent and beloved.
Yes.
They'll pick up on that no matter how they react to it. And some people react badly to it, but it still touches them in some way. That light and warmth will still feel warm and be light.
Yeah, even if they're not ready to get off of it, and we're just
Right,
standing there providing the light and the warmth.
right.
Sometimes that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be my experience this week. I'm going back to Missouri to see my dad, and I
Oh,
fully expect for him to be at the bottom of the Ferris wheel, and I may just be standing next to it, hopefully
just
providing
hold your
light and warmth.
candle. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll be praying for you and him.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, my friends, I'll see you Thursday, live from Missouri. Actually, I think I'll be in Kansas. See you Thursday. Thanks for coming.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.